Welcome, everyone. Hello, my name is Una. I am the Cosmic Mermaid and the owner of Bella Retreats, and I'm very excited to be here for a new moon Gemini. So, welcome for all of you who are joining us live, and welcome to those who will watch this later. This is recorded and put on YouTube. We have a few people still joining us in the room, so welcome on in, you guys. If you want to put into the chat where you're from, we love to know that. This is Moonrise, your monthly inspiration for alignment and intentional action. So, in this session, I'll be sharing the astrology for the new moon in Gemini, this new cycle. And we will be having a special guest to share with us some moon medicine with an embodied practice. And I'm very excited to share today Caroline Lewis. She is someone that I have just been started working with this year. So we've had a little bit of time to get to know each other. She is a psychotherapist and an energy healer and a wilderness guide. Oops, sorry, I was moving something around. And she is a leadership coach, the founder of Root Awareness. For over 20 years, she's been guiding individuals and groups through healing, transformation, and purpose-aligned leadership. She works in the therapy room, she works online, and she works in wild places all across the American Southwest, the California redwoods, the Costa Rica jungles, and this year in the British Columbia waterways. So she specializes in supporting highly sensitive people and empathic leaders, helping them to cultivate and attune the relationship they have with themselves, each other, and the natural world. She is a Leo sun with a Virgo rising and a Scorpio moon, but one of the things that I noticed immediately when we started working together was that in her chart, at the top of her chart, so at your midheaven, this is what you're here to be known for, and this is how people see you in the world. She has the North Node, which is her soul's purpose, and Chiron, which is the healing ability in Gemini. So Caroline's purpose literally is mastering the Gemini path of communication, connection, and clarity through the Gemini themes that we're going to talk about today. She's based in Durango, but she recently moved to Boulder, Colorado. So if you're in Boulder, say hello to Caroline. And everyone, let's say hello, Caroline. So happy to welcome you.
Thank you, Una. I'm so happy to be here and to share some of the wisdom that I have about this new moon and the embodiment practice. And yeah, just to be in collaboration with you and to share a little bit about the retreat at the end as well. And so appreciate you for inviting me into the space.
Amazing. I've been loving doing these. So I started at the beginning of the year. This is our sixth one. And sixth one, yeah, we're into June already. Crazy. Anyhow, the format, just so you're clear, we're going to talk a little bit here about the energies of Gemini and the new moon, and I'll speak to the astrology of that. And then Caroline is going to share an embodied practice at the end. So, before we drop in, I'll just say hello to Melissa from LA who's coming. Jeannie is also a Scorpio moon. Amazing. Hey, Chloe from BC. I just had a reading with Sky, our other friend up in BC, so that was fun. The BC connection. And so before we get into the astrology, we'd love to just drop in a little bit. So Caroline is going to guide us in just a little meditation to ground us so that this information can really land in our bodies, not just our minds.
Mhm. Okay, so I invite everyone to just get really comfortable and to close your eyes And go ahead and take a few deep breaths, breathing from the belly, breathing through the body. And I invite you to lean back your awareness. So oftentimes we hold our awareness in the front of our head, so our prefrontal cortex. That's where we think and we problem solve. But right now, I invite you to really lean back your awareness to the back part of the body and just relax the face, relax the body. And we're really leaning our awareness back into the limbic system, which is that place of intuition and just inner knowing and receptivity, allowing our spirits to guide us today through this meditation and also through the embodiment practice. And now go ahead and invite your spirit to come into the body. So, wherever you've been throughout the week, other people that you've been with, right now you get to be fully home inside of your body. There's nothing to do, nothing to change. And greet your spirit, say hello, thank you so much for being here. And just ask your spirit to guide you through this meditation and through the rest of the sharing today. And now go ahead and greet the earth and offer gratitude to earth. Earth is what connects all of us, what grounds us, what teaches us to be interconnected and fully human during these times. So just really offer from your heart space that gratitude to earth during this beautiful transition into the new moon. And now bring your awareness to your root chakra, which is located at the base of your spine. And go ahead and drop a grounding cord from your root chakra down deep into the earth, connecting your root to the root of the earth. And like a tree, go ahead and expand your grounding, deepening and widening your roots down into the earth. And allow your energetic body to drop down into the body, down into the earth, feeling that anchor down, down, down into the earth. And just following my guidance, we're going to breathe in earth energy from earth up through the feet and through the legs. Breathing in earth energy. And as you breathe out, you're grounding down, down, down into earth. So breathing in earth energy and breathing out, grounding down into earth. Breathing in earth energy from earth up through the feet, through the legs. And breathing out, grounding all the way down. Breathing in earth energy. Breathing out, settling into the body, grounding all the way down. Breathing in earth energy and breathing out, grounding all the way down. And earth energy is very nourishing, it's very clearing. So, again, offering gratitude to the earth's resonance, the earth's energy for being that grounding force. And also, again, offering gratitude to your own spirit for showing up here today, returning inward and connecting with these energies that are collective and that are bigger than our own individual selves. And one more nourishing breath for the body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. I feel it's so important um, to get grounded before we go into astrology, which can be a very heady thing, especially in Gemini. And even this year, we were just talking before about how all of the major outer planets are moving into fire and air, and there really is a sort of lack of earth and water. And that can be a very intense, fast-paced, and lots of activity time. These embodiment practices are just so crucially important. So, a few more people coming in. Welcome to those who are coming late. We're going to get into um, the Gemini energy. If we have any Geminis or Gemini moons or Gemini risings out there, say hello in the chat. I am a Gemini moon, so I know a lot about the Gemini energy. The third sign of the zodiac, okay, Aries initiates. Taurus roots, and Gemini is the first air sign that has us connecting. The symbol is the two twins, two of everything, right? Always in dialogue, talking, information, gathering ideas, resources, communication, curiosity. That word or that question that little kids ask, why? That's a real thing associated with that Gemini energy. It's able to kind of see multiple perspectives, can maybe even ask a question to have you think in a different way. And it is very much about thinking and thinking differently and having new ideas. And, I think, I learn, I connect. This is the energy that doesn't really settle for one answer. It explores and wonders and creates conversation, and really has that willingness to wonder. Some Gemini archetypes. It's fun. Each one of these has two creatures in it, which I think is really interesting, and also has a child. And that inner child energy is definitely very, very much a part of Gemini. So first we have the storyteller, the weaver of narratives and meaning. So Gemini is the one who takes all the different scattered information and threads it into some type of a story that makes sense. This has to do with the stories we tell ourselves, or in a bigger context of the myths and the stories that we tell in our society. Um, the student and the teacher. Having been a teacher myself for many years, I know this to be very true. To be a good teacher, you have to be a good student. You always have to be learning and taking in new information, right? Unless, you become one of those teachers who just says the same thing over and over and they just, they're not very engaged with their audience. So, to be a good teacher, you also have to have that beginner's mind on. And then we have the trickster, the wild child, this playful, clever, uncontained energy. The one who holds the opposites without having to narrow one thing down or the other. The paradox. And then the one who brings the fun, and feels through the senses and loves to laugh and run and play and enjoy themselves, but there is a little bit of like trickster fox energy to this as well. Um, Caroline's going to tell us actually a little bit more about the wild child energy, which I absolutely love, this archetype, of the kid in summer with no shoes who's running around and seeing animals and connecting with nature. But in general, I want you to really be thinking about what stories are you ready to tell yourself in a different way, maybe about who you are and what you want? Where do you need to maybe put your beginner's mind on a little bit more this season to see things with fresh eyes? And, maybe there's some way that you can kind of lighten up and have some fun and bring some playfulness in this cycle.
Mhm.
The Gemini elements and modes. So this is an air sign. We've talked a lot about that. Air element is through thought, communication, ideas. It's sort of the invisible force that carries words and understanding. It's mutable air, though, so it can change and adapt. You might hear that turn on a dime. That's a very Gemini thing. They change their minds frequently. Whereas, fixed air Aquarius, holds an idea steady for a long period of time. And cardinal air of Libra more initiates something or a dialogue. Mutable air is here to give us a new perspective. Can you see it like this? What happens if I look at it like this? And always asking the questions. What if? What about? If I knew this information, would I be different? Would I think different? Would I make a different choice? So this is really Gemini's gift, is that adaptability, that curiosity, and the ability to really see things from multiple angles. Now, this can come across as scattered or heady or, even a little bit crazy, like they're here, they're there. Where are they? We never know where they're going. Okay, that Gemini energy can kind of be all over the place. And so it's something, that you have to watch, are you getting too in the head? Are you getting too heady? And so question being, can you stay open and stay curious without, completely losing your body or your focus, right? Can you hold multiple ideas or multiple truths at once, without being dogmatic or getting lost in them? So that's that mutable air energy. Now, Gemini's ruling planet is Mercury. He is the fleet-footed god, the messenger planet. Now, in mythology, Mercury was the god who could move freely between the three worlds. So he could go down into the underworld, the unconscious, the hidden realm, where no one else was really allowed to go. He could go up into the realm of the gods and connect with the spiritual and transcendent. And he also came down on the human earth plane. So he was really the ultimate bridge and the translator and the one with access to all those layers. Even would say, in a sense, like Mercury has that first they energy, right? Like the duality of even two genders. Um, and this is really Mercury's superpower. And Gemini's, superpower, which is this ability to go through the worlds and find the information between all of them without a lot of judgment, but just seeing, hey, what's going on up here? What's going on down there? And how do we connect these and have conversation about that? And I do think it's real important. We are going to talk about this in the chart. The planet Uranus um, has just entered the Gemini chat. So for the first time in 84 years. So none of us have really, most people alive have not experienced this new energy of Uranus in Gemini. So it is going to sort of electrify wherever Mercury is in the chart, wherever Gemini is in your chart. This is going to sincerely activate um, the tech world, the communication world, the transportation world. We're really talking about in history a time when things like the printing press were invented 84 years ago, and that revolutionized how we communicate. We're on the brink of that. I'm sure we can all see with the AI and the robots and the tech centers and the tech world and all of that stuff. I mean, there's no really getting around it at this point, but it's something that I think is really important that we're aware of. I, as a Gemini moon, am not in a negative or positive place around it. I see it as a part of humanity's evolution of consciousness. And again, it's having that open mind to what happens now? What does it mean if we can have AI helping us with certain tasks? And where do we maybe need to have boundaries around that so it doesn't, harm nature or harm children or harm humans in a bad way? So, anyway, definitely a big topic. We'll talk about it a little more when we pull up the new moon chart. But the Sabian symbol for this new moon is Gemini 25. And this new moon carries its own message, a gardener trimming large palm trees. So, as this energy grows and expands and our minds, as we grow and expand and our minds grow and expand, if the intellect was like a tropical plant that wanted to expand wildly in every direction, and sometimes that's beautiful and gorgeous, but sometimes if left unchecked, gets too big, it goes in too many directions, it burns itself out, it becomes ungrounded. You may be divorced from feeling fully because there's too much growth in the area of the head. And so this symbol is really about the art of containment, you know, not like to kill it off entirely and kill the plan or kill the idea, right? But to prune, like bonsai, or, the bush that's growing over the edge of the walkway so people can't walk by. You know, um, it's allowing something even to become stronger by pruning. If you're a gardener, you know this. It's like, oh, we got to trim that back so next year it'll come back bigger and in the way that we want. So, it's definitely a transitional time that we're in where I'm asking big questions. I think anybody in the tech world or just in experiencing humanity right now is asking pretty big questions. How do we allow this technology to expand and help us connect with our consciousness? And also, where do we need a type of structure or boundaries, and where do we need to prune certain aspects of expansion of the mind or consciousness. So I think it's a pretty big question right now. Um, this need to expand our intellectual capacity, our consciousness, with technology, with the new ways that we can connect, but without losing our sense of humanity or embodiment. So, pretty big questions. Let's look at the new moon chart. So, as you can see with the new moon chart, we have a new moon here in Gemini. The An important thing to be aware of is this Uranus piece here. So Uranus has just moved into Gemini for the last 7 years. It has been in the Earth sign of Taurus. It will spend the next 7 years in the air sign of Gemini. So again, most of us has never experienced this. Uranus is the revolutionary, inspirational lightning bolt, a planet of change and revolution and freedom coming into the sign of communication, information, technology, and transformation and commerce. So we certainly have a prediction here around the next 7 years to see a lot of growth and innovation in these industries that are about talking, communication, information, communication, technology. Um, you know, Potentially something could be invented during this time that completely revolutionizes how we think or speak to each other. In my lifetime, we didn't have, this is new to have Zoom where we can all connect in a digital platform. So there could be another type of thing on the brink of discovery around that. And it is a really electrification of things around the mind. And so it's important with Uranus and Gemini that we do really take care of our nervous systems. You can get fried during this energy. It's lightning, it's intense electrification in the mental realm. So again, embodied practice, heart practice, feet on the earth practices become extremely important. Any things that, help your nervous system relax are going to be very important as well. So, and then to sort of add to this Uranus energy, Uranus is squaring the nodes in Pisces and Virgo. When planets square the nodes, there's like a choice point here. There's a changes in motion. We're taking the clock and we're making a turn around something. And we really are at that point here in the astrology. This is the first new moon with Uranus and Gemini, but it's also, after this month, we go into the eclipses, we go into a lot of fire and a lot of air. And so things may speed up. Might have a lot of choices. There might be a lot of energy. And so, we are kind of at a turning point here where, you may really want to be thinking about, okay, which direction do I want to go in here? I might have a choice point in my life where I need to go one way or the other. And that is very, Gemini, weighing the pros and cons of the two sides of something, right? With this Uranus energy, I'm suggesting you go more into the psychic realms, okay, rather than like the psycho realms, if you know what I mean. Like, don't go crazy, people, don't go crazy. And you could, because there's so much information and news and content out there that's contradictory, right? So you got to be careful not to let it make you go mad, literally. Um, so I just need to say that because it's kind of a big thing actually throughout this whole airtime in general. The other big thing that's happening is Uranus is trining Pluto. So, one way we can think about this is back in the 60s when we had the revolution time of the 60s, where there was a lot of energy there, around, protesting the war and, women's liberation and the civil rights movement, this revolutionary time. Pluto and Uranus were conjunct, they were together. And now that they've come into a trine, this is all of this year and actually some of next. That seeding of those ideas, might be on the verge of some breakthroughs or awakenings or taking the next step. I think we could see, again, breakthroughs, innovations in technology, medicine. I mean, everyone's talking about peptides, for example, stuff like that, where, this is a new technology and we're using it, or this is a new idea and we're putting it into place. It's very, very much an awakening of ideas and ideals right now. So I think it's a really fascinating, interesting, exciting time to be alive. But again, it can be very chaotic feeling. So just understand that that's a part of this time. The beautiful piece is that the ruler of the new moon, Mercury, is in Cancer. It's wide, but it's conjunct Jupiter. And this is really reminding us to come back to the heart, okay? That when we talk, when we communicate, we do so with care. We do so from a place of feeling, that it's not just up here in the mind. Oh, this looks like this is from last month, the feminine and masculine healing. That's not what that's meant to say there, just so you know, my slide is wrong. It is of the heart. So, how are we taking what we know or what we want to say from a head place and sharing and delivering from the place of the heart? And it's so crucial because, a lot of my air people, my air friends, we can just talk and about it and talk about it and talk about it. And sometimes it's just a very intellectual conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. But this new moon is really pointing us to remember the heart, the emotional intelligence, right? The home, the family, the things we care about. How can we learn? Can we teach the mind to feel almost?
Mm.
So yeah, this new moon is like really open to new ideas, think different, make different choices, speak your truth, but also, make sure that you're delivering from a place of feeling. So, in astrology, I don't know if you all know your charts. I hope you do. If you don't, you can look them up. One of the most important things I recommend that you find out is what's called your rising sign or your ascendant. And that is because then you can find out which house Gemini or this new moon or this new energy. And remember, this is a 7 year energy that's beginning right now with this new moon. And so you can kind of see where that's beginning in your chart. So for the Aries risings, this is happening in your third house of communication, learning, and short trips. So there may be a new way that you need to communicate, or maybe there's neighbors. It's also siblings. There might be a connection to that as well, something you need to shift there. Taurus risings are looking at shifting your money and self-worth. So Uranus in the second can be windfalls coming in and new ways of making money, or maybe you're making money from technology or something like that in a different or new way, or a new income stream comes in. Be open to new ideas and possibilities when it comes to money making, Tauruses. Gemini risings. Listen, this is a big time for you. It's a big year for you. The next 7 years are big because at some point, Uranus is going to hit your ascendant. And this has to do your first house with yourself, your identity, your purpose in the world. So at some point in the next 7 years, you have like a total reset around your identity coming. You need to be especially also careful of your nervous system with this transit and really take care of your body. Cancer, moving into the 12th house. This is like new awakenings in your connection with spirit. So really recommend meditation, anything that's going to get your mind quiet enough to connect with your higher self here. Leos, get ready, Leos. We're going to talk about this in Leo season, but we have eclipses in Leo. We have your 11th house being activated of friends, of groups, of community, of being seen. So this is a time to get out there and connect and talk with people, make new friends, and really get into the groups that bring about your like dreams. This is the house of your hopes, dreams, and wishes. Okay, here we have Virgo. So the Uranus and the new moon will activate your 10th house of your career and your public work world. So we're talking about maybe a new job, maybe a new role, maybe a new boss, maybe something changing careers entirely. Maybe shifting how you present yourself to the world, even. That is a huge possibility with this. Um, then we get into oh, Libras. So Uranus in your ninth house. When Uranus moves into the ninth house, this is new ways of thinking and believing what you believe is possible in your world. It can also be innovations in international travel or teaching through technology. So it's Libra rising, Scorpio in the eighth house. New insight. So this is more inner, okay? How do you see yourself, your connection, your intimate bonds differently? Maybe there's a new way of relating, or it also can be shifts in financial realms. Maybe money comes in from a source you weren't expecting. You do have to watch debt with this one as well, Scorpio risings. Sagittarius in the seventh house. So maybe a new type of relationship you're ready for, or a person comes in who has a new type of energy that you're not used to having. Maybe you want to have more freedom in your current relationship. This can bring a lot of change in partnerships. Open relating can come with this, or wanting to do not be married, or when you have been married, or finally wanting to change and settle down, a shift in how you do relationships. Capricorn, sixth house, daily routines and your health and wellness. I'm going to say this again, nervous system regulation, Capricorn risings. When you have Uranus in the sixth, this can very much electrify your nervous system. You need to be real careful with your grounding practices, with your embodiment practices, with your health. Be careful of accidents. I know it's hard to say that, but like I wouldn't be doing risky stuff with your body with the Uranus in the six. I wouldn't be skydiving, like I wouldn't be doing stuff like that because random accidents can happen. So be mindful of that. Aquarius rising, this goes into your fifth house. So this should really activate you in terms of your creative projects, romance, or children. So be real open here to new ideas, to bringing in new creative energy. And then lastly, Pisces in your fourth house of home. Look, when Uranus goes through the bottom of your chart, it can feel a little bit disruptive, okay? Because you may have to move. You may have to move unexpectedly. You may have to deal with family stuff that wasn't planned. So you need to just stay flexible with that and be aware that if you have to move, let's all remember that Uranus is here for our freedom. So if something gets swiped away or something gets shooken up and falls away, it's because it was an attachment that was unnecessary and is actually freeing you up. So I want you to really stay open to the change and flexibility, be flexible. The change that's possible right now with Uranus in Gemini and this new moon and Uranus squaring the nodes is like to get you unstuck of something, hopefully, to bring about more liberation or freedom in that part of your life. Okay. So that's actually all I have for you for the astrology. I hope that was fun and informative and gets you to understand pieces of that. If you have any questions about like the astrology stuff, feel free to drop that in the chat. But otherwise, I'm going to turn that over to Caroline. Caroline, what did you think of all that? Any reflections you want to share?
Well, thank you so much, Una. I love hearing about the astrology and all the transformation, transitional energy that's happening right now. It feels, I mean, I've been able to feel for myself that this is a big moment for all of us that's happening. And sometimes it can feel disorienting, dysregulating. And so I love astrology because it really just helps widen that perspective and being able to just see things from a bigger lens and being like, okay, this is where we're supposed to be. This is what is supposed to happen. And we can look for to this wisdom of the cosmos to help us ground into this present moment and to know that transformation and transition can feel really scary at times. But we're all in this together and we have our unique energies in order to support us and our communities and yeah, just to support us through this time. And I think that's some of the things that I was thinking about when you were sharing, like, oh yeah, AI can feel really big and it can feel like what's going to happen? Are we going to be okay? But I love that metaphor of pruning the trees. It's like, okay, the tree is growing and there's really nothing we can do about that. It's going to grow, it's going to expand, but how can we be mindful of that? And like you said, have boundaries around that. And because it can be so split sometimes, like, oh, this is bad or it's good. But how do we just be with the tree and acknowledge that it is growing and we can, as a collective, create what we want? We can manifest and make this tree as beautiful and as contained as we want as well. And how can we work with this tree and tend our garden? So, anyways, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
sharing.
my pleasure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the gardens of the mind, really, how do you garden the mind? Amazing.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
then the other thing I really want to bring into the embodiment practice that I'm sharing is I think it was Jupiter in Cancer at
Mm,
this time and the heart space and being able to bring that Gemini, that intellectual energy and that air energy into the body and into the heart space. I know a lot of my Gemini friends, they have to really work with the medicine of the heart because it can be more challenging to be in the emotional body. But being able to integrate those two energies is so beautiful. And so that's what I'm really going to be supporting you with today is how to bring this beginner's mind and this wild child energy into the body and into the heart so you can express from that place. Like how do we be vulnerable not just from an intellectual place, but really from our hearts? And so I think that the energy right now is really supporting us in that. So whatever conversations or whatever expressions that are wanting to move through us right now, that we have that collective energy at our backs to really support us there. And so, also something I wanted to share too is we have the new moon in Gemini, and we also have the solstice energy that's happening right now in the next weekend. So, we're really in a powerful place of this year. We're like entering the second part of the year. And so, whatever intentions that you had at the beginning of the year, now we have that fire and air energy to really push those intentions forward with the solstice energy as well. So, the solstice energy is the energy of illumination so that it really clears the path for all of us so we can see, what where the path is now, whereas maybe the beginning of the year, it's like, okay, we have our intentions, but we're still kind of in this old energy. I know a lot of people have been grieving the olds, and now we're really transitioning into this new 7-year cycle with the solstice energy. So the path is illuminated, and now what needs to be expressed right now to really allow us to walk on this path in a very authentic way. And so those are some of the archetypal energies that I'm going to be bringing into the embodiment. So right now, I just really invite you all to again get comfortable and through this embodiment, through this meditation practice, you don't have to be in the traditional, I have to sit up straight and everything needs to be um, completely aligned. Right now, you get to just be fully comfortable in whatever setting you are and bringing in that pleasure into the body. And so I invite you to just close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. And again, go ahead and invite your spirit to come home into the body. And greet your spirit, say hello and thank you for being here. And let's go ahead and greet the new moon in Gemini too. Just offering gratitude to the moon. The moon holds so much wisdom, often feminine wisdom. And it's always this opportunity for us to start a new cycle with the beginner's mind. And now bring awareness again to the root chakra and drop that grounding cord again down deep into the earth, expanding your roots down, down, down into earth. And now go ahead and ask your spirit to show you a place in nature, a place in nature where you feel so comfortable to be yourself, really trusting whatever image comes through to you or every knowing that comes right now, even if it might surprise you. And this is a place in nature where you feel so safe and comfortable to be your authentic self, where you get to be that wild child and you can roam free. And take a few deep breaths, just breathing the essence of this place into every cell of your being. And with your mind's eye, you can just take a look around and just notice the colors of this landscape. What do you see? And notice the sounds of this place. What do you hear? And you can notice the smells of this place. What are the fragrances of this landscape? And what does it feel like to be here? Just notice how you feel in your body right now to be here. And breathing deeply, breathing this place into your being. And now go ahead and invite your inner wild child to join you here. Invite this one to come sit next to you and just trust how this one shows up today, whatever age this one is. And just ask this one to come sit next to you. And now bring your awareness down into your heart chakra, which is located at the center of your chest. And we're going to go ahead and set the intention to open the heart up to 100%. So opening the heart space and take a few deep breaths, just breathing into the heart, softening the heart, and bringing your full presence here. And now also, we're going to bring awareness to the throat chakra. So we're going to open the throat chakra, which is located at the throat space. We're going to open the throat chakra to 100% and just feel that connection between the heart and the throat. And this connection and this openness allows you to speak from the heart or to express from the throat, from the body, whatever wants to be fully expressed right now. And now we're going to turn towards the inner wild child, the one that's sitting next to you, and really trusting what's coming through right now. So, whatever comes through, even if it might surprise you, usually your intuition speaks to you through the first hit that you get. Oftentimes, the mind wants to manipulate or change that. So, really trusting what comes through. Ask the wild child what wants to be expressed during this new moon right now. And this could be through dance, through communication to a loved one. But what is an authentic expression that wants to be shared right now? And just trust the first thing that comes to you. And you can also ask this one, how can I be more in my inner wildness and in my wonder, my childlike wonder more during this cycle? And trust the first thing that comes. And then the last question I'll ask is, what is my intention right now for this new moon? What feels so authentic to me as we transition? What new energy is being birthed? So, what is this new intention for this cycle for myself and for this inner wild one to be so free and so themselves? And now just take a few more deep breaths through the body, really feeling into the heart space and also the throat, that those channels are open for you for this lunar cycle. So let's give gratitude to the body. And let's offer gratitude to your inner wild one that came and visited you today for the wisdom that this one always holds within you. And let's offer gratitude to the place and the landscape that visited you today. And just the beauty of this earth and the trust that we have within the universe and the cosmos for directing us and guiding us. And if there's any other gratitude in your heart, any other wisdom that's authentically coming through right now, just allowing that to be and to bringing your awareness there. And that all of our meditations, all of our embodiments, all of our own inner wisdom, may that be an offering to this earth and to these times, for everything that's shifting, and for that, for all of what we're holding right now. And prayer for more capacity, for more grounding, that may be medicine. And one more deep, nourishing breath for the body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. Hmm, I can not stress how important meditation is to the monkey mind, and especially in the energy of Gemini and Uranus. So I had some really, really beautiful inspirations, and my intention clarity came through so strong. I'm curious if there's anybody here who would like to share, either in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if any clarity came forth for you in your intention for this cycle, or anything that just came through that meditation. No pressure, but I just wanted to put it out there. It's also a good time to write something down. And, if you're following along from home, those questions to really ruminate on are, what does your inner wild child want to express? And how can you be more wild and in your childlike wonder? And how can that relate to your intention for this cycle? So I know I had a real insight into my creativity, my really like raw creative inner child energy, and how there was an aspect of that was really wanting and ready for like a new way of expressing, like, and I don't know what that is yet. It's like really exciting to know that it wants to come through. I don't know what it is yet, but just to be like open to expression and creativity in a new and different way. So that's what really came for me. Anyone else out there in the audience who wants to share either in the chat or live and or a question? Too funny. The Gemini is quiet. Well, maybe we got to the full quieting of the monkey mind. Yay. And we are here in our embodiment. Anything, Caroline, else you want to share about that or anything that came through for you?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can just speak from my own experience. Um, I'm noticing for myself right now that there is this choice point um, of two directions. I think you spoke to that, Una, like what was coming through for me in the meditation too. There's new creative ideas, but there's also this more safe way of expressing myself, whereas there's a new way of expressing myself that feels more edgy and more, yeah, it feels scary to step into a new way of being and expression. Because when we express ourselves in new ways, there's always that risk of being judged or being criticized or anything like that. So, um, yeah, I'm in curiosity around that, like how to hold all of it, how to hold all these parts of ourselves, the ones that can feel afraid, the ones that can feel courageous, and the wild child that really just wants to be authentic and express no matter what people think, but also with the heart, like being really compassionate towards ourselves, towards the ones that are afraid or feel scared, because we do live in this world where that can feel challenging at times. And we want to feel the inner child also wants to feel acceptance and wants to feel a sense of belonging. And
Mm.
so, but there's something about Gemini energy where it feels like there's more capacity to hold all of it, like all of the ideas, all of the parts of ourselves. And so I think I'm just in question of how can I really honor all of the different parts of myself? Like, how can I step forward and be more expressive, but how can I also really be tender with myself when that can feel hard or feel challenging when there's already so much information out there? Um,
100%. I think that's the major duality piece of, the Gemini is like, how do we hold the both and?
yeah. Exactly, the duality. And I'm just feeling that. I'm feeling that strongly in myself right now. So I just wanted to offer that. I wonder if other people are feeling in a similar way and how we
Yeah.
can just be supportive of each other through that and know that the energies of these times are very dualistic and paradoxical, and it doesn't always make sense. But as long as we keep coming back home to our own bodies and to our own knowings and speaking from the heart and sharing and authentically relating with one another from that place, even if we make mistakes, that is what is true right now. And it's so needed when there's so much intellectual information out there and just like debate, like intellectual debate, or this is wrong or this is right, and this kind of split, or this is bad, or but if we keep just coming back to what's true and speaking from the heart, then that's really how we remember how to be human with one another. So,
Yeah, it very much is a very interesting time for humanity to
mhm.
understand and remember. And that's actually why I actually I like technology. I'm kind of into tech and all that stuff. And I got to speak, to my grandmother every single day during the lockdown from Australia on FaceTime. Something that, back in the day, people would go off to war, for example, and they'd have to write a letter and spend a month or 3 months like waiting for a reply, and
Wow.
in this day and age, this is like kind of mind-blowing for us to even
Mhm.
consider that possibility. And so, I enjoy that ease of communication with technology. But I do also, yeah, understand how it does shift human consciousness, that wait time period that we had to have in between, having a letter that went out and then we have to wait for it to come back. Now it's like they didn't text me back in an hour, something's wrong. It's like it's a very different shift of consciousness in humanity around how people relate.
Mhm.
So I think it's a very interesting time and it is very confronting for people, and it is also very like a lot of change is afoot, and we don't know what it's going to be like after this.
Mhm.
So the embodiment again piece and the meditation piece so crucial. Melissa is sharing that her child would like to express more joy, which I just love that. And she wants to surround herself with more people who are in their wholeness, which is so beautiful. And her intention is to stay grounded. So awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Melissa. Joy and that inner child joy, that expression that comes without like thinking like if it's okay or is someone going to judge me, is that like inner child wildness. It's so so important. If you can access that, it's like it is like this pure childlike joy. It's so beautiful. So thank you for sharing that, Melissa. And yeah, thank you to Caroline and just sharing your wisdom. And I just really enjoy the way that you dropped us in and the sort of the pacing that you take us through really has me feeling grounded and
Mhm.
um, and able to access some inner pieces of myself. So thank you so much for being here. I also want to let everyone know this is coming up, very soon in 2 months. You Wild Radiance, a soulful kayaking journey where you're going to be taking people out and up into the Columbia wildness and on an actual adventure retreat. I'm calling it adventure retreat because we have like a beautiful farm stay where we're going to be on Bowen Island. And then you're taking people out on kayaks for a multi-day trip where they spend time on the water during whale season in British Columbia, which is just one of the most lush, beautiful places I've ever been. And we only have 4 spots left, so that filled up pretty quickly. It's going to be a small, intimate container of women. So if that sounds interesting to you or you want more information, let us know. We have one more day to get that early bird sign up by tomorrow. And then I also just wanted to turn that over to Caroline and see if she had anything else to say about that. But gosh, this looks like kind of like a trip of the lifetime kind of thing where you get to just be in this like wild nature.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, what can I say about it? I'm so excited. That's the first thing. And it's gonna be so I feel it in my body and my bones. It's gonna be so beautiful and so deep and soulful. We're going to be integrating embodiment practices, like some of the meditation that I shared today. It's gonna be meditation, and the person that I'm collaborating with, Rebecca Wildbear, she's bringing in deep imaginal journeying. So that's a way of going into the deep imagination. And we'll also be doing some yoga and some song. And so this is a way to really connect with your ancestry that lives within the soul, within the body. So when I say ancestry, what I mean is how our ancestors really related with one another, with the lands, and being able to really deeply connect with water and to the more than human world and adventuring. And so these kinds of adventure retreats that I've facilitated in the past, people always leave, and there's oftentimes a huge breakthrough that happens for people afterwards because you become so in alignment and you also build a lot of resiliency and courage. And and it's a beautiful way to return back to your childlike joy. And so people oftentimes have so much fun, but it's also there's a lot of depth that happens in community and connecting with community and sharing authentically in that way. And so I'm so excited to get to know the British Columbia landscape and to hopefully see whales and the wildlife there. I heard it's just so magical. So if you have any interest, I would love to connect with you more about it. Um, so yeah, that's what I can
Amazing. This is
share.
going to be a phenomenal trip. I'm just imagining the possibility, like when you really surrender to nature in that way and like really being out on the water for that many days in a row, how much possibility comes to really, really, really reconnecting with yourself and with nature and like what kind of energy can come out of that. It feels really fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you and bringing the childlike wonder to the Gemini. Happy new moon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining live and for those of you that are going to watch the replay. This new moon cycle is on, this whole month, but the next few days are really potent. So hopefully you can really tune in and get clear about how you want to work with the energy. So, anyways, happy new moon, everyone, and thanks for joining us at Moonrise. Thanks again, Caroline Lewis, and
Thank you, Una.
four more spots if anybody wants to hop on. Good to see you, Melissa, and thank you all so much for everyone who joined us live. Bye, Lisa. Good to see you.
You too. Bye.
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 Ciao, ciao.